Maria Vale learned early that some truths are built from lies repeated often enough. She was 8 years old the first time she understood what it meant to be invisible. Not hidden, not forgotten, just carefully erased from every moment that mattered. The training yard stretched wide behind the pack house, dirt worn smooth by generations of wolves learning to fight, to shift, to become something more than human. Other children ran in groups, their laughter sharp and bright in the morning air. Maria stood at the edge, her small hands gripping the wooden fence, watching but never joining. Her mother, Sarah Vale, had told her once that watching was its own kind of learning, that patience was a strength the loud ones would never understand. Maria clung to those words like a lifeline. Saren had been beautiful in the way morning light is beautiful, soft, warm, gone too quickly. She died when Maria was 10, and the world shifted on its axis. The house that had smelled like honey and lavender began to smell like nothing at all. For 6 months, Maria and her father existed in that hollow space. He worked. She learned to cook. Neither of them spoke about the empty chair at breakfast. Then Lorena arrived. She came with a smile that showed all her teeth and daughters that glittered like cut glass. Elara Voss, 16 and perfect. Kaya Rowan, 14 and sharp. Miranda, 12 and already learning to weaponize kindness. Lorena embraced Maria that first day, her hands gentle on Maria's shoulders, her voice honey-sweet. You poor thing, so alone. But you're not alone anymore. Maria wanted to believe her. She tried, but within a week, the changes began. Small at first. Maria's place at the dinner table shifted, not removed, just moved, farther from her father, closer to the kitchen door. Her chores multiplied while her stepsisters laughed in the garden. Her clothes, hand-me-downs from cousins, were never quite clean enough, never quite mended, and Lorena never raised her voice. That was the genius of it. Maria, dear, perhaps you should eat in the kitchen tonight. The girls have so much to discuss about the ceremony. Maria, sweetheart, your hair is so difficult. Why don't you just braid it tight and forget about it? Maria, love, you mustn't expect the same attention as the others. They have prospects. You understand. Each word was delivered with a smile, with pity, with the kind of gentleness that made refusal seem ungrateful. Maria was 12 when she first heard the phrase that would define her. Lorena was hosting other pack mothers for tea. Maria was serving, silent and efficient, the way she'd been taught. She moved between the women like a ghost, refilling cups, clearing plates. Your daughters are so lovely, Lorena, one woman said. They'll have their pick of mates. Thank you. Lorena's voice carried warmth and pride. They take after their father, such strong bloodlines. A pause. And the other girl? The quiet one? Maria's hands stilled on the teapot. Lorena sighed. Soft, almost sad. Poor Maria. She's plain, I'm afraid. She takes after her mother's side. Not much can be done about it. She is ugly and will never marry. The words landed like stones in still water. Ugly, never marry. Maria finished pouring the tea. She returned to the kitchen. She placed the teapot on the counter with steady hands. Then she stood very still and tried to remember what her mother's voice sounded like. The phrase spread through the pack like winter frost. Slow, inevitable. By the time Maria was 15, it was simply accepted as fact. No one questioned it. No one thought to look closer. At the pack gatherings, Maria served food while other girls danced. At the training sessions, she organized supplies while others sparred. At the ceremonies, she stood in the back while others stood in the light. She learned to make herself small. She learned that silence was safer than speech. She learned that if she didn't reach for anything, nothing could be taken from her. But some part of her, buried deep beneath the layers of learned quiet, still remembered her mother's words. You are not ugly, Maria. You are just unseen. At 17, Maria had stopped looking in mirrors. Not because she believed she was ugly, but because she'd stopped seeing the point. Beauty was currency in the pack, and she'd been declared bankrupt by the only appraiser who mattered. Her father had faded into background noise. He worked, he ate. He nodded when Lorena spoke. He'd stopped meeting Maria's eyes years ago. It was easier for him, she supposed. Easier to believe Lorena's version of reality than to fight for a daughter who'd already been written off. The morning of the announcement, Maria was in the garden pulling weeds, dirt under her nails, sweat on her brow, alone. Alara and Kaya were inside with Lorena, discussing their hair for the evening's pack assembly. Maria didn't know what the assembly was about. She never did until she was told where to stand and what to carry. Maria, Lorena's voice carried across the garden, sharp despite its sweetness. Maria stood, brushing dirt from her worn dress. Lorena waited on the back porch, her arms crossed, her expression somewhere between amusement and irritation. "You'll need to bathe and dress properly. The Alpha King is coming." Maria blinked. "The Alpha King?" "Don't stand there gaping." "Yes, Alpha King Nathaniel Thorne is touring the territories, inspecting omegas for potential alliance bonds. Every unmated female of age will be presented." Something cold settled in Maria's stomach. "Even me?" Lorena's smile was all edges. "Especially you, dear. It's only fair. Everyone should have the same opportunity, shouldn't they?" The way she said it made Maria's skin prickle. This wasn't about fairness. This was about something else entirely. That evening, Maria stood in the line of unmated females outside the pack house, wearing a dress Lorena had provided. It was plain, shapeless, the color of dishwater. Every other girl wore jewel tones and fitted bodices. Maria wore something a servant might discard. She understood the message. Alara stood near the front of the line, radiant in emerald silk, Kaya beside her in sapphire. Miranda, Pamela, Nicole, Marilyn, Anna, all dressed like prizes waiting to be claimed. Maria stood at the very end, visible only because the line had to include everyone. A joke, dressed and presented. The other girls whispered, their voices carrying on the evening breeze. "Why is she even here? Lorena must be trying to prove a point. Poor thing. She'll be dismissed immediately." Maria's hands were steady at her sides. Her face was calm. She'd learned long ago how to endure humiliation without flinching. She would stand here. She would be looked past. She would return to her corner of the house and nothing would change. She expected nothing, so when the Alpha King's convoy arrived, Maria didn't look up. She heard the cars, the footsteps, the murmur of the crowd. She kept her eyes on the ground and waited for it to be over, but the air changed. It grew heavier, charged, like the moment before lightning strikes. Maria's wolf stirred for the first time in years, pressing against her consciousness with something that felt almost like warning. She lifted her gaze and met the eyes of Nathaniel Thorne. He stood at the center of the courtyard, tall and still, dressed in black that seemed to absorb the fading light. His presence was not loud. It was absolute, the kind of power that didn't need to announce itself. The pack Alpha was speaking, gesturing toward the line of girls, but Nathaniel wasn't looking at them. He was looking at Maria. His eyes were dark, unreadable, fixed on her with an intensity that made her breath catch. She should look away. She knew she should. But something in his gaze held her frozen. It wasn't hunger. It wasn't pity. It was assessment, pure and clinical and devastatingly thorough. 1 second, 2, 3. Then his gaze moved on, sweeping down the line with the same measured attention. Maria released the breath she'd been holding. Her hands were shaking now. She clasped them behind her back where no one could see. Beside her, one of the younger girls whispered, "Did you see that?" He looked right at her. He was probably trying to figure out why she's here. Another girl replied. Laughter, soft and cruel. Maria's face burned, but she didn't move. At the front of the courtyard, Lorena stood with the other pack elders, her smile fixed and gracious. But when her gaze found Maria's, Something flickered in her expression, something that looked almost like fear. "Hey, quick question, how are you feeling today? Thank you so much for being here. It really means the world to me. If this story of the Omega, who was called ugly her whole life but became the Alpha King's chosen mate, moved you, please hit that subscribe button for Ariel Romance Library, smash the like, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. It helps more than you know. Alright, thank you. Now let's get back to what happens when the woman everyone dismissed becomes the one the Alpha King refuses to stop defending. The inspection lasted 3 days. 3 days of carefully orchestrated presentations where eligible females demonstrated skills, poise, and bloodline value. 3 days of whispered speculation about who the Alpha King would choose. 3 days of Maria being reminded, with increasing creativity, that she didn't belong. On the first day, the girls were asked to demonstrate their wolves. One by one, they shifted in the ceremonial clearing, their transformations smooth and beautiful. Alara's wolf was silver white, elegant, and powerful. Kaya's was russet and quick. Each girl's wolf was met with appreciative murmurs from the gathered pack. When Maria's turn came, she shifted quietly. Her wolf was smaller than the others, gray-brown, unremarkable. She stood for the required moment, then shifted back and returned to her place without fanfare. No one commented. That was somehow worse than mockery. On the second day, they were tested on traditional skills. Herb knowledge, territory mapping, protocol recitation. Maria knew all of it. Her mother had taught her, and loneliness had given her time to study what others learned socially. But when she answered questions correctly, the examiner simply nodded and moved on. When Alara answered the same questions, she was praised. Maria learned the rules young. Correct answers from her were expected. Correct answers from others were achievements. On the third day, Nathaniel Thorne himself conducted interviews, private. One at a time, 20 minutes each, the girls emerged glowing or nervous, whispering about his questions, his presence, the way he'd looked at them. Maria was called last. She entered the small study where he waited, her heart hammering against her ribs. The room smelled like old books and pine. Nathaniel stood by the window, his back to her, looking out at the forest beyond. "Sit." His voice was low, controlled, not unkind. Maria sat in the chair across from the desk, her hands folded in her lap, her spine straight. Nathaniel turned, crossed the room, sat across from her. For a long moment, he simply looked at her, not at her clothes or her face. At her, like he was reading something written beneath her skin. "Why are you here, Maria Vale?" The question caught her off guard. She'd expected formalities, protocol, not this. "I was told to come. That's not what I asked." His eyes were steady on hers, dark, intense, impossible to look away from. Maria's throat tightened. "I don't know what you want me to say." The truth would be acceptable. Something in his tone made her believe him. Against every instinct she'd cultivated, she answered honestly, "I'm here because my stepmother insisted. I'm here because refusing would have caused problems. I'm here because sometimes it's easier to be humiliated than to fight." Silence. Nathaniel leaned back in his chair, his gaze never leaving her face. "You expect to be dismissed?" It wasn't a question. "Yes." "Why?" "Because I've been dismissed my entire life. This will be no different. And if I told you that you're wrong?" Maria's breath caught. She forced her voice steady. "I would say you're being kind, or strategic, but not honest." Something changed in his expression. Not a smile. Something sharper, more interested. "You don't believe compliments." "I don't receive them. So I have no frame of reference." "You think you're ugly." The word landed like a slap. Maria flinched despite herself. "I think," she said slowly, "that beauty is what others decide it is. And they've decided." Nathaniel stood, walked around the desk, stopped directly in front of her, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to hold his gaze. Look at me, Maria. She did. I don't make decisions based on others' assessments. I make them based on what I observe. And what I observe is someone who has been trained to disappear, someone who answers honestly when honesty is dangerous, someone who stands in a line meant to humiliate her and doesn't break. His hand lifted. For a moment, she thought he would touch her face. Her breath stopped. His fingers brushed the air near her cheek, not quite contact, then dropped. You're dismissed. For now. Maria stood on unsteady legs, walked to the door. Maria, she paused, not turning. Thank you for your honesty. It's rarer than you might think. She left without responding, her heart a wild thing in her chest. Behind her, Nathaniel remained standing, his expression thoughtful, his mind already working through variables she couldn't begin to guess. The pack's evening meal was a formal affair. Long tables laden with food, the pack Alpha and Luna at the head, Nathaniel seated in the place of honor at the Alpha's right hand. Maria served. It was her role. Expected. Unquestioned. She moved between tables with practiced efficiency, filling cups, clearing plates, invisible in the way servants learn to be. She was refilling wine when she felt the weight of a gaze, not just anyone's gaze. His. She glanced up, met Nathaniel's eyes across the table. He was listening to the Alpha speak, his posture relaxed, but his attention was fixed on her, watching, measuring. Maria looked away quickly, her hand steady despite the electricity crawling under her skin. When she moved to refill his cup, he spoke quietly, for her ears only. You serve well. It's what I do. Is it what you want to do? Her hand paused. Want doesn't factor into it. Interesting choice of words. She finished pouring and moved on, her pulse loud in her ears. Across the table, Lorena watched. Her smile was fixed, but her eyes were calculating. Dangerous. After the meal, Maria retreated to the kitchen to help with cleanup. The other servants chattered around her, speculating about the Alpha King's choice. He spent the longest time with Alara, but he asked for Kaya twice. Maybe he's considering multiple bonds, or maybe he hasn't found what he's looking for. Maria scrubbed dishes and said nothing. She was drying the last plate when a younger servant, barely 16, sidled up beside her. Did you really have an interview with him? Maria nodded. What did he ask you? Why I was here? The girl's eyes widened. And what did you say? The truth. Which was? Maria set down the plate, looked at the girl directly. That I was sent as a joke. The girl's face flushed. That's not. I mean, it's fine, Maria said. I know what I am. It doesn't hurt anymore. But as she walked back to her small room in the servants' wing, she wondered if that was entirely true, because something in Nathaniel Thorne's gaze had made her feel seen for the first time in 7 years. And feeling seen after so long being invisible, that hurt in ways she didn't have words for. The next morning, Nathaniel announced that he required another day to complete his assessment. The pack leadership agreed immediately, falling over themselves to accommodate. The girls preened. Lorena schemed. Maria returned to her routines. She was in the herb garden behind the pack house, harvesting lavender for the pack healer. When footsteps approached, she knew without looking who it was. The air changed when he was near. Heavier, electric. Maria Vale. She straightened, turning to face him. He stood at the garden's edge, hands clasped behind his back, watching her with that same unnerving attention. Alpha King. She bowed her head in respect. Walk with me. It wasn't a request. Maria set down her basket and followed him along the narrow path that wound through the garden and into the forest beyond. They walked in silence for several minutes, the pack territory sounds fading behind them. Finally, Nathaniel spoke. Tell me about your mother. The question surprised her. Why? Because I'm asking. Maria considered refusing, but something about the quiet between them felt safe enough for truth. She was kind, patient. She saw things in people they didn't see in themselves. Maria paused. She died when I was 10. Fever took her in 3 days. And your father? He's alive, but he's not present. He chose his new wife's comfort over his daughter's welfare. Some people do that. Choose the easy path. You don't resent him. I did, for years. But resentment is exhausting. I let it go. Nathaniel stopped walking, turned to face her fully. You're resilient. I'm practical. There's a difference. Is there? Maria met his gaze. Resilience implies bouncing back. I didn't bounce back. I just learned to exist in a smaller space. His eyes darkened. And you're content with that? Content is a luxury. I'm surviving. That's enough. What if I told you it shouldn't be? Her heart kicked. I'd say you don't know my life. Then tell me. And somehow, in that quiet forest clearing, Maria did. She told him about the years since Lorena arrived, the slow erosion of her place in her own home, the casual cruelties disguised as concern, the way her stepmother had systematically isolated her from pack life while never once raising her voice in anger. She told him about the phrase, the one that followed her like a shadow. She is ugly and will never marry. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Your stepmother said this? Often. To anyone who would listen. Until the pack believed it. Until I almost believed it. But you don't. Not completely. Maria hesitated. I don't know what I believe anymore. I know I'm not like Ilara or Kaya. I don't shine the way they do. Nathaniel stepped closer. Close enough that she could see gold flecks in his dark eyes. Close enough that his scent cedar and smoke and something wild wrapped around her. You're right. You're nothing like them. The words should have hurt. Instead, his tone made them sound like praise. They perform, he continued, his voice low. They calculate every word, every gesture, trying to determine what I want to hear. You speak plainly. You don't beg. You don't manipulate. You simply exist, as you are. Because I have nothing to lose, Maria said. They have prospects. I have nothing. Is that what you think? His hand lifted. This time, his fingers did touch her face, just the lightest pressure beneath her chin, tilting her head up. You have more than you know, Maria Vale, and the fact that you don't see it makes you dangerous. Her breath caught. Dangerous how? To liars, to manipulators, to anyone who trades an illusion. His thumb brushed along her jawline. Once, you're real. In a world full of performance, you're devastatingly real. Heat bloomed where he touched her. Her pulse hammered. Then he stepped back, his hand falling away, and the spell broke. Return to your work. I've taken enough of your time. He walked away before she could respond, leaving her standing alone in the forest, her skin burning where his fingers had been. The rumors started that afternoon. Maria heard them in snatches. Whispered conversations that stopped when she entered rooms, glances that followed her through the pack house. He went walking with her, alone. Why would he do that? Maybe he's testing her for something, or maybe she's done something, cast some kind of spell. Maria ignored them. She'd been the subject of pack gossip her entire life. This was nothing new, but Lorena heard them too, and Lorena was not pleased. That evening, Maria was summoned to Lorena's private sitting room. Her stepmother stood by the window, her posture rigid, her reflection in the glass showing an expression Maria had never seen before. Fear. Sit down, Maria. Maria sat. Lorena turned, her smile fixed but strained. The Alpha King seems to have taken an interest in you. This is unexpected. Maria said nothing. I want you to understand something, dear. Whatever you think might happen, whatever foolish hopes you might be entertaining, they're misguided. You're not suitable for an alliance bond. You're not suitable for any position of significance. The sooner you accept this, the less painful this will be. I haven't hoped for anything, Maria said quietly. Good. Keep it that way. Because if you embarrass this family, if you make a spectacle of yourself chasing something so far above your station, there will be consequences. The threat was clear and familiar. Maria stood. Is that all? Lorena's eyes narrowed. You should be grateful for the life you have here. Others would have cast you out entirely. Yes, you remind me often. Maria left before Lorena could respond, her hands shaking, her chest tight. But for the first time in years, the shaking wasn't just fear. It was anger, because Nathaniel Thorne had looked at her like she mattered, had spoken to her like she had value, had touched her like she was worth touching. And now Lorena wanted to take even that brief moment away. No. Maria closed the door to her small room and pressed her back against it, breathing hard. Not this time. She didn't know what Nathaniel saw in her, didn't know if it meant anything beyond curiosity. But for once in her life, she refused to accept someone else's assessment of her worth. Lorena had spent 7 years telling her she was ugly, unmarriageable, nothing. But Nathaniel had looked at her differently, and Maria decided, standing alone in her quiet room, that maybe it was time to see what happened if she looked at herself differently too. On the 5th day of his visit, Nathaniel requested a private assembly with the pack leadership. Maria was not present. She spent the morning working in the kitchens, her hands busy, her mind elsewhere. The pack was alive with speculation. Multiple girls had been called for second interviews. Alara had emerged from hers looking triumphant. Kaya had come out looking thoughtful. The others ranged from hopeful to devastated. Maria hadn't been called back. She told herself it didn't matter. Told herself she'd known all along this wouldn't touch her, but something in her chest ached anyway. By afternoon, word spread that the Alpha King would make his decision at the evening's formal gathering. Every pack member was required to attend. Maria, dressed in her least shabby dress, braided her hair, stood in the back of the great hall with the other servants, and watched as the unmated females were presented one final time. Nathaniel stood beside the pack alpha, his expression unreadable. He looked at each girl as she was introduced, his attention apparently equal, but Maria noticed something the others didn't. He never let his gaze linger, never showed preference. He was giving nothing away. The pack alpha spoke first. Alpha King Thorne, we are honored by your consideration of our pack for alliance. Any of these fine young women would strengthen the bonds between our territories. Nathaniel inclined his head. Your pack has been most welcoming. Have you made your selection? The hall held its breath. Nathaniel's gaze swept the room. Slowly, deliberately, it caught on Maria for just a moment, a heartbeat, then moved on. I have, he said. But I require one more conversation before I announce my choice. Confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. Of course, the pack alpha said. Whatever you need. Nathaniel's attention returned to Maria. Direct, unwavering. Maria Vale, come forward. The hall erupted, not in cheers, in shock. Maria's legs locked. This couldn't be happening. She'd misheard. She must have. Maria Vale, Nathaniel repeated, his voice carrying authority that cut through the noise. Now, somehow, her legs moved. She walked through the crowd, feeling every eye on her, hearing every whispered word. Why her? This is insane. She must have done something. Maria reached the front, stopped 3 paces from Nathaniel, kept her eyes down. Look at me. She did. His expression was calm, but something intense burned in his gaze. Walk with me. He turned and left the hall. Maria followed, her heart a wild thing, her mind blank with shock. Behind them, the hall exploded into chaos. Nathaniel led her to a private study, closed the door. The sudden quiet was deafening. He stood with his back to her for a long moment. When he turned, his expression was serious. I'm going to ask you a question. I need your honest answer, not what you think I want to hear. The truth. Maria nodded, not trusting her voice. If I chose you as my alliance bond, if I named you as my selected Omega, would you accept? The question stole her breath. She stared at him, searching for the trick, the joke, the test, but his face showed nothing except genuine inquiry. Why? The word came out hoarse. Answer the question first. Maria's mind raced. This was impossible. Alpha kings didn't choose nobody's servants. Didn't choose girls their own packs had rejected. Didn't choose. No. The word escaped before she could stop it. Nathaniel's eyes widened fractionally. No? No. I wouldn't accept. Silence. Then, quietly. Why? Maria's hands clenched at her sides. 7 years of swallowed words rose in her throat. Because I won't be chosen to make a point. I won't be chosen to prove something to my stepmother or this pack. I won't be chosen as a lesson or a statement or an act of charity. Her voice strengthened as she spoke. I've been invisible my entire life. I've been told I'm ugly, that I'll never marry, that I should be grateful for scraps, and maybe some part of me believes it. Maybe I am all those things they say, but I won't be chosen by someone who sees me as a project, as something to fix or save or prove wrong. She was shaking now, but she didn't stop. If you choose me, it should be because you want me, not because you pity me, not because I amuse you, not because I'm different from the others, but because I matter to you. She took a breath, met his eyes fully. And I don't matter to you. I'm just interesting, maybe refreshing, but I'm not worth choosing for the right reasons. So no, I wouldn't accept. The silence stretched. Nathaniel moved. He crossed the space between them in 3 strides. Stopped so close she had to tilt her head back to hold his gaze. You think you don't matter to me? It wasn't a question. I know I don't. His hand came up, cupped her face. His thumb traced her cheekbone with devastating gentleness. You're wrong. The words were barely a whisper. I've interviewed 23 eligible females in the last 5 days. 23 women who smiled and agreed and performed and tried to become what they thought I wanted. Not one of them questioned me. Not one of them challenged me. Not one of them had the courage to refuse me. His other hand rose. Now he held her face between both palms, his touch careful, like she was something precious. You're the only one who saw past the title. The only one who spoke truth even when it could cost you everything. The only one who refused to beg. His forehead lowered until it almost touched hers. You matter, Maria. You matter so much it terrifies me. Her breath came in shallow gasps. Heat radiated from every point of contact. Her wolf surged, pressing against her consciousness, drawn to him in ways she didn't understand. I don't want to be chosen out of pity, she whispered. Good, because that's not why I'd choose you. Then why? His eyes locked on hers, dark, intense, filled with something that made her insides liquid. Because you're real. Because you challenge me. Because when I look at you, I see someone who survived everything, designed to break her and came out unbroken. His thumb traced her lower lip. Because when you look at me, you don't see the Alpha King. You see a man. And I haven't been seen as just a man in longer than I can remember. Maria's heart slammed against her ribs. Nathaniel. And because, he continued, his voice dropping lower, when I stand this close to you, all I can think about is how your breath catches, how your pulse races, how you lean toward me even as you try to pull away. She was leaning toward him. She hadn't realized. His mouth hovered near hers. Not kissing, just breathing the same air. So I'll ask again. If I chose you, would you accept? Maria's world narrowed to this moment. To his hands on her face, to his breath on her lips, to the heat building between them like a physical thing. Ask me properly, she whispered. Something like a smile touched his mouth. Maria Vale, I choose you. Not as a statement, not as proof, but because I want you, because you matter, because I see you, and I'm choosing to be seen by you in return. Will you accept my choice? Tears burned behind her eyes. Not sad tears. Something else entirely. Yes, the word was barely sound, but it was enough. Nathaniel's control cracked. His mouth claimed hers in a kiss that was both careful and hungry. One hand slid into her hair. The other moved to her waist, pulling her closer. Maria had never been kissed, never been touched with want, never been held like she was something desired. She drowned in it, her hands fisted in his shirt, her body pressed against his. Heat built between them, spiraling higher with each breath, each touch, each soft sound that escaped her throat. His lips moved from her mouth to her jaw, down her neck. Each kiss burned. "Maria," he breathed against her skin. "Tell me to stop. Don't stop." His grip tightened. His mouth returned to hers, deeper this time, more demanding. She responded without thinking. Her body knew what her mind didn't. Knew how to arch into him. Knew how to part her lips when his tongue sought entrance. Knew how to hold on like he was the only solid thing in a spinning world. When he finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. His forehead rested against hers. His hand still held her like he couldn't quite let go. "I'm choosing you," he said again. "Publicly. Tomorrow. Are you ready for what comes with that?" Maria thought about Lorena's face, about the pack's shock, about everything that would change. "No," she admitted. "But I'm choosing it anyway." His smile was small but real. "Good, because I'm not letting you take it back." He kissed her once more, soft, sweet, a promise. Then he stepped back, his control returning, though his eyes still burned. "Go to your room. Rest. Tomorrow changes everything." Maria nodded, walked to the door on unsteady legs. "Maria," she paused. "Thank you for refusing me. It made choosing you mean everything." She smiled, a real smile, the first in 7 years. Then she left, her heart full, her future uncertain, her world irrevocably changed. Behind her, Nathaniel stood alone, his hands clenched, his wolf satisfied in ways that had nothing to do with politics or alliances. He'd found her, and he wasn't letting go. Maria didn't sleep. She lay in her narrow bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. The kiss, his words, the way he'd held her face like she was precious. Tomorrow, he would announce his choice. Tomorrow, everything would change. The knock came at dawn. Maria sat up, her heart jumping, but it wasn't Nathaniel. It was a servant she barely knew, looking nervous. "Your stepmother wants to see you." Immediately, Maria dressed quickly and followed the girl through the quiet pack house. Other servants were starting their morning routines, but none met her eyes. They knew something. Lorena waited in the formal sitting room, her back rigid, her face a mask of controlled fury. Elara, Kaya, and Miranda sat on the sofa, their expressions ranging from confusion to barely concealed glee. "Sit." Lorena's voice was ice. Maria sat. "I'm going to ask you once. What did you do to the Alpha King?" "I did nothing." "Lies." Lorena's composure cracked. "You must have done something. Said something. Alphas like Nathaniel Thorne don't choose damaged, plain, worthless girls. They choose power, beauty, value. You have none of those things." Each word was designed to cut. Maria had heard them before, variations of them, for 7 years. But this time, they didn't land the same way. "Maybe he sees something you don't," Maria said quietly. Lorena's face flushed. "You will refuse him." "No. You will refuse him, or I will make sure this pack knows exactly what kind of manipulative creature you are. I will tell them how you schemed, how you trapped him, how you used whatever desperate tricks you could to secure a position so far beyond your worth that it's insulting. Tell them whatever you want." Maria stood. "It won't change his choice." "You stupid girl." Lorena stepped closer, her voice dropping to a hiss. "Do you know what happens to omegas who reach above their station? They're destroyed. Publicly. Completely. I will see you humiliated in front of the entire pack. I will make you wish you'd never been born." "You already did that," Maria said. "For 7 years, you made me wish I was invisible. You got your wish. I disappeared, but someone saw me anyway, and that terrifies you." Lorena's hand rose. "Mother, don't." Alara's voice cut through the tension. If you strike her and word gets back to the Alpha King, the hand dropped, but the fury in Lorena's eyes didn't fade. This isn't over, she said. You'll see. By tonight, the entire pack will know you for what you are. Maria left without responding. Her hands were shaking, her chest tight. But she'd stood her ground. For the first time in her life, she'd stood her ground. The formal announcement was scheduled for evening assembly. All day, the pack house buzzed with speculation. Maria worked through her usual chores, trying to stay calm, trying not to think about how many eyes would be on her tonight. But the whispers followed her. She must have done something. Maybe she's carrying his child already, or maybe she used some kind of compulsion. She always was odd, quiet. Who knows what she's capable of? By afternoon, the rumors had twisted into something ugly. Maria was a manipulator, a schemer, a desperate Omega who'd trapped an Alpha King through deception. She heard it all, absorbed it like she'd absorbed every cruel word her entire life. But now, she had armor. Nathaniel had chosen her, and he'd done it knowing exactly who she was. The great hall filled as evening approached. Pack members crowded in, their excitement palpable. This was history. An Alpha King announcing an alliance bond with their pack. Maria stood in the servants' area, wearing the same shabby dress she'd worn the night before. She hadn't been told to dress formally, hadn't been invited to sit with the eligible females. She was still, in everyone's eyes, exactly what she'd always been, until Nathaniel proved otherwise. The pack Alpha entered with his Luna, the council members. Finally, Nathaniel himself, looking every inch the powerful Alpha King he was. His eyes swept the room, found Maria, held. Something in her chest loosened. The pack Alpha called for silence. We are honored tonight to witness history. Alpha King Nathaniel Thorne has completed his assessment and made his selection for Alliance Bond. This choice will strengthen our pack and provide security for generations. Dramatic pause. Alpha King, please announce your chosen Omega. Nathaniel stepped forward. His presence commanded absolute attention. Before I announce my choice, I want to clarify something. This bond is not political. It's not strategic. It's not about bloodlines or alliances or territory. This bond is about recognizing worth where others fail to see it. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I've interviewed many exceptional females in this pack. Each brought value. But I'm not looking for someone who performs. I'm looking for someone who endures, someone who speaks truth, someone who sees beyond titles and protocol. His eyes returned to Maria. Maria Vale, come forward. The hall exploded, not in joy, in shock, in outrage. Maria walked through the crowd. Every face she passed showed disbelief. Some showed anger. She reached Nathaniel. Stopped. He extended his hand. She took it. His grip was warm, steady, anchor strong. This is my choice, Nathaniel said, his voice cutting through the noise. Maria Vale will be my alliance bond Omega. Anyone who questions this questions me. Silence fell. Then, from the crowd, Lorena's voice rang out. Alpha King, surely there's been a mistake. Every head turned. Lorena stepped forward, her face a perfect mask of concern. Maria is my stepdaughter. I know her better than anyone. She's not suitable for this honor. She's plain, simple. She has no training in protocol or leadership. She's ugly? Nathaniel's voice was cold. Is that what you were going to say? Lorena faltered. I would never be so cruel. But the truth is, she's not equipped for this role. She's been sheltered, protected. She doesn't understand what being an alpha's mate requires. Protected. Nathaniel's grip on Maria's hand tightened. Is that what you call 7 years of systematic isolation? Belittlement? Emotional starvation? Lorena's face paled. Did you think I didn't investigate? That I didn't ask questions? That I didn't observe how you treat her versus how you treat your own daughters? I've treated her like family. You've treated her like a burden you resent. You've spent years convincing her and everyone else that she has no value, that she's ugly, that she'll never marry. Nathaniel's voice was controlled but cutting. You failed. Because I see her clearly, and what I see is someone stronger than you'll ever understand. The hall was silent now, every eye on Lorena. She is ugly and will never marry, Lorena said, her voice rising. I've said it because it's true. Look at her. She's nothing special, nothing remarkable. You're making a mistake. The only mistake, Nathaniel interrupted, his voice deadly quiet, is thinking I'll tolerate you speaking about my chosen Omega that way. He turned to Maria. His free hand cupped her face. You are seen, Maria. You are chosen, and anyone who says otherwise answers to me. Then, in front of the entire pack, he kissed her, not gently, not carefully. He kissed her like she was his, like he was claiming her in front of witnesses, like he was making it impossible for anyone to question. When he pulled back, Maria's face burned, her heart raced, but she stood tall. This assembly is over, Nathaniel said. Maria and I are leaving at dawn. Anyone who wishes to offer congratulations may do so now. Anyone who wishes to offer criticism can save their breath. The crowd dispersed slowly, murmuring, shocked. Lorena stood frozen, her plan shattered, her weapon those words rendered useless, because Nathaniel had heard them, and chosen Maria anyway. They left the great hall together, Nathaniel's hand still holding hers. He led her through corridors, past staring pack members. Upstairs she'd cleaned 1,000 times but never climbed. He stopped at a door, opened it. The room beyond was beautiful. Guest quarters fit for royalty. Firelight danced across rich furnishings. This is where you'll stay tonight, Nathaniel said. Your own space. Safe. Private. Maria stepped inside, overwhelmed. The claiming ceremony is tomorrow before we leave, he continued. If you want to change your mind, tell me now. She turned to face him. Do you want me to change my mind? No. Then I won't. Something in his expression softened. He entered the room, closed the door behind him. Come here. Maria crossed to him. He reached up, slowly unpinned her braid, let her hair fall loose around her shoulders. His fingers combed through it, gentle. I need you to understand something, he said quietly. This bond isn't charity. It's not rescue. It's choice. My choice. Are you clear on that? Yes. Good. Because what happens next is permanent. Once we complete the bond, you're mine, and I'm yours. There's no going back. His hands framed her face. I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you want this? Do you want me? Maria's hands rose, covering his. I spent 7 years being told I'd never be wanted, that I'd never be chosen, that I was worth nothing. Her voice was steady. You looked at me and saw something different. You made me see something different. So yes, I want this. I want you. Nathaniel's control cracked. He kissed her hard, his hands tangling in her hair, pulling her close. Maria responded, her body pressed against his, heat building between them like wildfire. His hands moved down her sides, found the laces of her dress, started loosening them with careful precision. Tell me if you want me to stop, he murmured against her mouth. Don't stop. The dress fell away. Then her undergarments, until she stood before him, exposed, vulnerable, and somehow not afraid, because the way he looked at her wasn't hunger, it was reverence. Maria. His voice was rough. You're beautiful. You don't have to. I'm not saying it to be kind. I'm saying it because it's true. You're beautiful, and you're mine. He kissed her again, slower this time, thorough, like he was memorizing her. His hands explored her skin, learning her, claiming her. Then, impossibly, he lowered himself to his knees. Maria gasped. What are you? You've been on your knees for 7 years, serving, invisible, dismissed. His hands gripped her hips. "Tonight I kneel for you." He pressed his forehead against her stomach, his breath warm against her skin. "You're my equal, Maria, my partner. Never forget that." Tears pricked her eyes, not from sadness, from the sheer, overwhelming reality of being valued. She touched his hair. "Stand up, please." He did, caught her against him. "The bond happens tomorrow, properly, with witnesses." His mouth found her neck. "But tonight, I want you to understand what you mean to me." He lifted her, carried her to the bed, laid her down like she was precious. Then he showed her, with touch and breath and whispered words, exactly how much she mattered. He was careful, patient, attentive to every sound she made, every response. He kissed her until she couldn't breathe, touched her until she trembled, held her until she felt safe enough to let go completely. When he finally joined with her, it was slow, deliberate. He watched her face, learning what she liked, what made her gasp, what made her arch into him. The pain was brief. The pleasure that followed was overwhelming. "Look at me," he said, his voice strained. "I want to see you." Maria opened her eyes, met his gaze, and in that moment, as they moved together, as heat built and crested and broke, she understood this wasn't just physical, this was belonging. Afterward, they lay tangled together, her head on his chest, his arms wrapped around her. "Tomorrow," he said quietly, "the pack will witness our bond ceremony. You'll stand beside me as my equal. Can you do that? I don't know how to be an alpha's mate. Neither did I before I met you. We'll learn together." She tilted her head up. "Why me? Really?" He considered the question seriously. "Because you're honest. Because you're strong in ways strength isn't usually measured. Because when I look at you, I see home." He kissed her forehead. "And because you refused me. No one's ever done that. It made me see that you valued yourself, even when no one else did. I didn't value myself. Not really. You did. You just didn't realize it. You refused to accept less than genuine choice. That's self-value." Maria settled against him, her eyes growing heavy. "Sleep," he murmured. "Tomorrow we face the pack. Tonight we just be." She drifted off in his arms, safe for the first time in 7 years, chosen for the first time in her life. And when she dreamed not of being beautiful, but of being seen, which, she was learning, was so much better. The morning ceremony was simple but binding. Maria stood in the great hall wearing a dress Nathaniel had provided. Not ornate, not flashy, just beautiful. Deep blue that brought out the color in her eyes. Fitted perfectly. She'd looked in the mirror that morning and seen someone different. Not because she'd changed physically, but because she'd stopped looking through Lorena's eyes. The pack gathered, more subdued than last night, still processing the shock. Nathaniel stood at the center with the pack alpha, the ceremony master, and witnesses from both packs. Maria walked forward alone. No one to give her away. No family support. She didn't need it. When she reached Nathaniel, he extended his hand. She took it. The ceremony master began the ritual words. Ancient, binding. Maria and Nathaniel repeated the vows, accepted the marks, completed the bond. When the final words were spoken, Nathaniel pulled her close and kissed her. Deep, claiming. The pack erupted in applause. Not all of it was genuine, but enough was. After the ceremony, pack members approached with congratulations. Some sincere, some clearly forced. Lorena didn't approach. She stood at the back, her daughters beside her, her face blank. Maria met her eyes once across the crowded hall. Lorena looked away first. That small victory mattered more than Maria expected. They left that afternoon. Nathaniel's convoy ready, Maria's belongings, what few she had already packed. Her father approached before they left. He stood awkwardly, his hands clasped, his face ashamed. "Maria, I should have protected you better." I should have seen. Maria looked at him. This man who'd chosen comfort over courage, who'd let his daughter fade rather than fight for her. Yes, she said simply. You should have. She didn't say she forgave him. Didn't say it was fine. Some wounds needed acknowledgement, not absolution. Her father nodded, accepted it, walked away. Alara appeared next, alone, her perfect face uncertain. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I didn't realize how bad it was. Mother, she made it seem like you were just sensitive, like you preferred being alone. Did you believe that? Alara hesitated. I wanted to. It was easier. Yes, it usually is. Will you forgive me? Maria considered. Maybe, eventually, but right now, I need to focus on moving forward, not looking back. Alara nodded. I understand. Congratulations. Truly. She left. Nathaniel appeared at Maria's side. Ready? Yes. They walked to the convoy together. As they reached the car, Maria paused, turned back to look at the pack house. 7 years of her life contained in those walls. 7 years of learning to be invisible. Regrets? Nathaniel asked softly. No, just saying goodbye to who I was, and hello to who you're becoming. She smiled. Yes. They drove away as the sun climbed higher. Maria watched the pack territory fade in the distance. Nathaniel's hand found hers. Tell me what you're thinking. That I spent so long believing I was nothing. And now I'm sitting beside an alpha king, chosen as his mate, heading toward a life I never imagined. Scared? Terrified. But also hopeful. He raised her hand to his lips, kissed her knuckles. You're going to be an incredible mate. You just don't see it yet. How do you know? Because you survived Lorena without becoming her. You endured cruelty without becoming cruel. You were dismissed but never dismissed others. He looked at her fully. That's strength, Maria. Real strength. The kind that leads well. Over the following weeks, Maria learned her new role. Nathaniel's pack welcomed her cautiously at first, then warmly as they saw her work ethic, her genuine care for pack members, her refusal to put on airs. She wasn't perfect. She made mistakes. But Nathaniel stood beside her through all of it. Some nights, she still woke from dreams where Lorena's voice echoed, You're ugly. You'll never marry. But then Nathaniel would pull her close, whisper against her hair, remind her of the truth. You're beautiful. You're chosen. You're mine. And slowly, the old voice faded, replaced by new truths. She was strong. She was valued. She was seen. 6 months after the bonding, Maria stood on the balcony of Nathaniel's estate, looking out over the territory. Behind her, the sounds of a pack celebration drifted through open windows. Nathaniel joined her, wrapping his arms around her waist, pulling her back against his chest. What are you thinking about? That morning, when you first arrived, when I thought I was being sent forward as a joke. And now? Now I understand I was never the joke. The joke was everyone thinking I needed to be like them to matter. He kissed her temple. And do you believe that now? That you matter? Maria turned in his arms, met his eyes. Yes, I believe it. Good. Because you do. More than you know. She rose on her toes, kissed him softly. When she pulled back, she smiled, real and warm and completely unguarded. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for letting yourself be chosen. They stood together as the sun set. Two people who'd found each other against all odds, building something real from the ruins of what others said was impossible. Maria thought about Lorena occasionally, about the pack that had dismissed her, about the years lost to silence. But she didn't resent them anymore, because all of it led her here, to a man who saw her when everyone else looked through her, to a life where being quiet wasn't about making herself small, but about having the confidence not to need constant validation, to a place where she wasn't beautiful by anyone's standards except the ones that mattered. She'd never be the most striking woman in a room, but she'd learned something better. She didn't need to be striking. She needed to be undeniable. And in Nathaniel's eyes, in his touch, in the way he sought her counsel and valued her voice, she finally was. Not because she changed, but because someone finally looked at her without filters, without prejudice, without the lies others had built around her. He saw Maria, and Maria finally saw herself. The phrase that had defined her childhood, "She is ugly and will never marry," became nothing more than proof of how wrong people could be when they chose to stay blind. Because Maria Vale had married, she'd married a king, and she'd done it without changing a single thing about who she was. That, she decided, was the greatest victory of all. If this story moved you, if you felt Maria's pain or celebrated her victory, subscribe to the Ariel Romance Library for more stories where overlooked women rise, powerful men choose wisely, and love is earned through truth, not performance. Tell me in the comments. At what moment did you realize Maria was never ugly at all? Was it when Nathaniel first truly saw her, when she refused his initial offer, or when she finally saw herself through his eyes?